Thank you. Thank you so much for this warm welcome and introduction. So it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. And so we're going to be talking about visualization to grow your inner power. So the first part of the presentation is going to be on visualizations in general. And then towards the end, we're going to do a little demo together, more specifically on what we call the navigate power, which is actually a great visualization to help you to make decisions. If you are facing difficult decisions and having some doubts maybe about making the decisions, that can help you with this visualization. So I'm going to be sharing about all that I've learned through my training with Positive Intelligence, which is an amazing coaching training. And also through my experience, of course, as a personal experience and experience as a coach. So this is all about becoming the highest version of yourself. And this is what visualization help you to do, because they help you to access your intuition and who you truly are, what we can call as well your essence. So it's wonderful. Don't hesitate to put your reactions in the chat box. We can look at them at the end if there is anything. And of course, we'll have a long Q&A session if you have any questions. So we've done already part 1 on empathize power, and part 3 is going to be on explore power. So the recordings are available. You can contact Gunsu, and you can of course register for the third part on the explore power. So I'm going to start by a short introduction about me. So I'm Coach Clem, a certified coach, and my area of expertise is actually to help women with a calling to help others, and I help them to create the life and business that they are craving for. And for example, they want to become a therapist or a coach, a teacher, or wellness professional. So a business that's about helping others. And I help them on working on their mindset and this inner balance to be very strong, overcome an imposter syndrome, have a more stronger self-confidence, and get clarity on their needs and their goal, creating that vision, that roadmap, and also business strategy to reach the goal. Just a few things about myself. So I'm from France, coming to you from the UK tonight, where I live in the north of the UK. My initial career was in teaching. Actually, I taught languages and traveled the world. So I'm an expat at heart. It's really, really dear to me. Then I created my first business, which was a bilingual nursery in France. And while I was doing that, I did some deep work on myself and transitioned to coaching. And now I help people to actually create this life and business, because they really go in hand together, don't they, to benefit others. So I learned a lot about visualization in this coaching program that I was telling you about. That's called Positive Intelligence. And it's absolutely amazing. And it tells you a lot about actually what happens at the brain level, what happens in our brain. And I wanted to start by this quote from Albert Einstein that really explains really well for us the difference, the way we operate differently. And in our society, our culture has based a lot of things on the left brain. So Einstein says, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and that has forgotten the gift. So he refers to the left brain, which is more the rational, logical side of the brain. Of course, we know in neuroscience that things are more complicated than just only the right side and the left side, but it's just a way to explain in a simplified way. So the left side of the brain is the more rational, logical side of the brain, which has been very focused on in our culture. We know that we are a lot focused on the science. School is also a lot focused on developing and growing that left side of the brain. And we tend to forget and maybe not take care enough and maybe not train enough our right side of our brain, which is our intuition, our creativity, our passion, and also where the calm, the happiness lives. And the fact that this society has been focusing very, very much on the left side of the brain actually creates a misbalance in the brain. It's not that the left side is bad and the right side is good. We need both sides of the brain to, to be able to work properly. We need some rational, be logical, be able to think, organize a project, plan things ahead, for example. But if that is too strong and we do not compensate with the right side of the brain, what happens is a sabotage. And we experience, to one degree or another, it's very different to one person and another, some internal sabotage. The best example to understand that is the inner critic. You've probably heard of that. So the inner critic is actually the voice that is constantly commenting on everything you do and finding what is bad, what is wrong about what you do, what is wrong about others do, what is wrong about the situation. In positive intelligence, we call that voice, the inner critic, the judge. The judge is the main saboteur. It lives in the left side of the brain and is constantly focusing on the negative. And that is actually sabotaging and taking away a lot of your energy that is being used in this negative sort of activity, rather than focusing on what is the solution, maybe focusing on positive and how to build a solution to a particular situation that you are facing. So we are all, of course, born with unique personalities and qualities. We are all different, and we tend to be born with a strength or several strengths, and sometimes with life challenges arising. If we overuse those strengths, and they can be, for example, in the left side of the brain, we can also encourage this development of the saboteurs. And for example, a great strength to have can be a strength of empathy. You can have a great empathic sort of approach to things and be really relative to people. But even that strength taken too far can become a sabotage, because if I only think about the others, if I'm only in empathy all the time and I completely forget about my needs, about my desires, about fulfilling my own and filling up my own level of energy, for example, that's not going to take me far. And empathy then becomes a sabotage if it's overused. Yeah. So this is why this program is really bringing a lot about how to build more balance in your life, how to balance more your life. Basically, you do need empathy. It's an amazing skill, but please don't go too much into one thing. So don't go too much towards the left brain either. Find the way to have that balance. And so the way we do that is actually to unlearn a lot of things that we've learned, all of the programs that have been put into place in that sabotage, and we relearn. So we really create new neural pathways, and we build 3 core muscles with positive intelligence that are called mental fitness core muscles. So the idea there is to access a different way the brain works. It is actually really as deep as that, because we want to get rid of the sabotage that has been in place for all the reasons that I've been mentioning. So positive intelligence focuses on 3 different core muscles. So there's the saboteur interceptor muscle. That is the first one. So the saboteur interceptor muscle is, it might sound a little bit bizarre and a bit weird, technical right now, but it's actually becoming aware of the sabotage and how it happens internally for you. So it's awareness. Oh, I can see I'm under some sabotage at the moment. I can see there's an ill balance at the moment. So it's catching up actually things where they're happening. So I mentioned the judge, the inner critic, and they also work with accomplice saboteurs. And the accomplice saboteurs are different depending on your personality. There is, for example, there is the controller saboteur. There is the stickler saboteur. Again, they're great qualities, but taken too far, they can become a sabotage. The second muscle is the sage muscle. So the sage muscle is actually the response that we're going to build instead of the saboteurs. Instead of the saboteurs, we're going to reprogram, and we reprogram something else. What is it? We call it the sage. So the sage muscle is actually a more positive, more creative approach to things and programming that taps into the right side of the brain, so that the right side of the brain is activated and it can use the left side of the brain instead of being used by it. So there's more balance between both sides of the brain. So this is with visualization, what we focus on more on today. We focus more on the second muscle of the sage muscle. And the third muscle in the program is the self-command muscle. So the self-command muscle is actually what enables you to shift from the sabotage to the sage response. So building, commanding your attention, learning to train your brain to activate your left side of the brain to create a different response. And that also creates new neurological pathways. But if you're interested, you can check on my YouTube channel. There are more videos on all those different steps. But today, the visualization is more about the sage muscle. So about the solution, the new program that you build instead of sabotage. Okay, so how does that work? So I really like this quote by Henry Ford that says, whenever you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. It is really what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that shows us as well the power of beliefs and actually limiting beliefs that we can all have internally. And what does that do? Well, actually what it does is that it creates a tunnel vision, completely limiting your perception and even your reality. This is why it actually becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because when you are focusing on only what is wrong or only what is negative, then your vision is going to be filtered. It's like if you're wearing colored glasses in a way, and you can only see that problem. Your vision is completely limited to whatever that big problem that you're focusing on. And when the more you see it, the more it becomes bigger, the more you can see all the things that are wrong. And you're probably missing something that you cannot see because of that tunnel vision. And that can be exactly what you need. And it's almost in front of your eyes, but it's part of the solution, but you cannot see it because of that tunnel vision. So the idea is to actually expand your horizon, not saying this is not a problem, not ignoring the negative thing that is happening, but just expanding your horizon so that you can actually be calmer, be more focused, and able to respond to create a solution that's going to help you, that's going to serve you. I like this analogy of surfing, actually, of surfing and surfing the waves, or the analogy of the waves, because of course in life, the waves are going to come and they're going to go, challenges are going to arise. So maybe instead of blaming the waves for being too big and to being too overwhelming, maybe we can grow our resilience, grow our inner power so that we can learn to surf and become better surfers, right? And the visualizations are a great way actually to access who you truly are, to develop that right side of the brain, to grow that resilience and grow that inner power. So this is what they do. So it's no little thing, isn't it? It's quite powerful. So to illustrate what I mean about knowing who you truly are, accessing who you truly are, your essence, I'd like to tell you at this stage a little story, the Golden Buddha story. So it's actually an ancient story, but they've discovered not so long ago in 1957 an entire monastery in Thailand that was being relocated by a group of monks. So they were moving one monastery from one place to another. And one day they were moving this giant clay Buddha. And one of the monks noticed a large crack in the clay. Oh, so they put the Buddha down and they had a closer look. They were like, oh, what's happening? Is the Buddha breaking or something? And what actually they saw when they took a closer look was a golden light emanating from the crack, because they were outside and the sun was shining, so they could see better. They could see some kind of light. So they used a hammer and a chisel to start chipping away at the exterior of the clay, until they revealed that actually inside, underneath that clay layer, there was a pure gold, immense statue of Buddha. So the statue was thought to be built in actually in 1400 year of this age, and it was revered by Buddhists for hundreds of years. But at some point, the Burmese army was invading Thailand, so very in this past history, and they were destroying everything where they were going. The Burmese army was just like no mercy. They were burning everything down to the ground, killing everyone. So the monks couldn't see the army coming towards them, so they decided to cover that Buddha really quickly in a clay layer, with plaster, and they painted it just to make it look like not so much value, but still to make it not too suspicious that you'd like to take the clay off, and they left it here so to protect actually the golden Buddha from the army. And so the army invaded the country and killed all of the monks. So all of the monks were tragically murdered. So none of them could tell about the Buddha that was left undiscovered for so many years. So now it's one of the most precious golden statue. It weighs 5.5 tons of kilograms and is worth like 250 million in gold. So it's an amazing story, isn't it? How and it symbolizes how underneath this layer of sabotage, there is actually a golden Buddha probably in all of us, just almost reachable, almost at our reach. So the sabotage, we can call it also in different traditions, the ego, that is limiting us from accessing actually our true golden Buddha inside of us. And the layers of clay get added over the years by different things that happen to us, and the influence, of course, also of cultural society, as well as we mentioned. But the good news is we can actually access it, and we can remove gradually the layer of clay. And for that we need tools, and this is what the visualization do. They're one of the tools that help you to access and reveal more and more this true essence, who you truly are. So what does it do? It actually helps you to quiet down this inner critics, this saboteurs, this negative thinking, commanding your mind to focus, and then accessing more and more on the right side of the brain this true essence, rediscovering, remembering who you really are, who you were born as, actually. So that was my little introduction on in general about visualization. I'm going to guide you through a short visualization, as I said, about the navigate power, so the power that helps you to make the decisions when you're facing a difficult decision. So that helps you to get the clarity on your vision and your direction when you're unsure about something. So you can still already start to bring to mind something to you that you'd like to get clarity about. If it's a decision that you're facing that's maybe a little bit tricky, so maybe you can start to have a few minutes to think about that before we start. And yes, just before we start that, I'm going to start the visualization by doing some what we call mental fitness reps. So mental fitness reps are enabling you to grow your self-command muscles that I was mentioning earlier. So this is the muscle that commands your attention. So we have sort of a default sort of program, autopilot program, which tends to be the saboteurs, the inner critic, and the different saboteurs that we develop. So what we do first is we activate something different. So we activate the right side of the brain by using those reps. So I'm just going to explain a little bit what they are. So the reps are actually a way, they're little exercises, and we use body perception. We focus our attention on body perception to switch the focus of our mind, yeah? And that helps to quiet down the saboteur, the critic voices, and create new neural pathways to rebalance the brain and connect you to the right side of the brain. So this is why they're always important, and we always start visualizations by a quite long session of mental fitness reps, right? So they're going to be very easy. You just have to follow and put your attention to the perception, just following my voice. Yeah, excellent. And then I'm going to take you to the visualization, more specifically on the navigate power, so to help you to take decision. So this visualization is the wiser elder self visualization. And I just want to mention before we go ahead and we start, that some people see very clearly when they are invited to visualize. They can see a scene, they can see it's very clear. Some it's more blurred or it's moving, or some can't see much at all. So I just want to say at this point, it's completely normal. So just be very, very gentle. The intention of having this visualization, the only intention is enough. Just the fact of having the intention. So you can just be very gentle and very curious and let the things come to you, right? Let things be presented to you and just observe, right? And you can focus on your body perceptions when you're struggling, or if you realize that you're focusing. Just connect back to your breathing, for example, and just relax and get quiet down, right? Okay, so I think we're all ready to start. If everyone's okay, I'm going to turn my camera off so I can also close my eyes and guide you through that. And we're going to start the visualization. So start by finding a very comfortable seat. Make sure you're seated very comfortably. Have your spine straight if you can. Your feet flat on the floor. In a relaxed position. And you can, at this stage, very gently bring to mind a situation on which you would like greater clarity. Just bring to mind a situation on which you would like greater clarity. If you have multiple situations coming to you, just pick one. Don't overthink this. Excellent. So you're going to gently bring your attention into your body. Notice that you have a body. As gently as you can, be in your body. Feel the weight of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Be very attentive to the different perceptions. See if one foot feels heavier than the other. Just welcoming all the sensations. Keeping your attention on your feet. Try to find as many of your toes as you can. Be attentive to your toes. Wiggle your toes if you need to. Try to find all of your toes. By doing that, you are commanding your attention to coming back to your body sensations. Excellent. Now you're going to gently rub two of your fingertips, any fingertips, just rub two fingertips together, giving all your attention. Just feel all the sensations of your fingertips rubbing together with such attention that you can feel the fingertip ridges on both fingers. Feel all the details of your fingertips ridges. Now see if you can move even slower, rubbing those two fingers. Move as slowly as you can, being attentive to all the perceptions. Excellent. Now you're going to rub both hands together, all the fingertips and palm against all the fingertips and palm of the other hand, feeling all the sensations of touch. Excellent. Now we're going to focus on the breath. You can take a few deep breaths. Notice the rising and falling of your chest and stomach with each breath. Excellent. Letting your breath settling into its normal, relaxed rhythm. Just noticing the gentle rising and falling of your chest and stomach with each breath. Now I'm going to invite you to start a visualization. So you're going to visualize a beam of light that comes to you on the right hand side. So a vertical beam of light is presented to you on the right. And this beam of light is going to transport you towards the end of your life to visit your wiser elder self, healthy of mind and body. The wiser elder self is healthy of mind and body. You're just going to pay her a visit. You watch that beam of light on the right hand side, and you let that beam of light take you very gently to your wiser elder self. Just let it guide you. Now you're arriving to the place where your elder wiser self lives. You can notice what kind of a dwelling it is. Notice the room. And notice your wiser elder self, healthy of mind and body. Just visualize where he or she lives. Just paying attention at the surroundings. Is there any things that you notice? If there are other people present, just focus on your wiser elder self. Watch maybe her clothes or his clothes. the posture, is he or is she standing or sitting? Notice the overall aura of your wiser elder self and the general emotion and energy that you can see around your wiser elder self. What's the energy or emotion that you can see and feel? Now you go a little bit closer and you notice the expression of the face of your wiser elder self. Notice the eyes and the expression of the eyes. And now you go to a wiser elder self. You are now facing him or her, and you ask this being, what's important to me to pay attention to in this situation that I'm considering? What's important to me to pay attention to in this situation that I'm considering? So you take your time to ask this question again if you need to. Just be very curious of what's presenting, what's being presented to you. And now you can ask your wiser elder self, what truly matters here? What truly matters here? Again, taking your time and seeing what is being presented to you. Now you're going to say thank you to your wiser elder self. Thank your wiser elder self for this wisdom. And you're going to see on your left another beam of light that's going to be presenting. A vertical beam of light on your left-hand side. So you attach yourself to that beam of light. And you let that beam of light bring you back to your room where you're seating. Very gently bring you back. And when you're back on your seat, you can reconnect to your breathing. Becoming aware of your breathing. The gentle rising and falling your chest and stomach. Gently reconnecting to your breathing. Paying attention to the temperature of hair as it enters your nostril and the temperature of hair as it exits your nostrils. You can slowly start to move your feet and your hands. Coming back to your body, coming back to this room. Take your time to stretch if you need to, gently waking up from the visualization. Take a minute if you need to come back and turn your video on if you feel like it. Come back to the presentation. So that was a short taste. There are versions of the visualization that are much longer. It takes you a lot deeper into it. But I wanted to give you a taste to give you an experience, your own experience of those types of visualizations to illustrate what I was telling you about. So I hope you had a good time doing that. If you are interested to know more, if you'd like to talk to me about your situation, I'm going to put a link in the chat. If you want to have a one-to-one discovery session, free discovery session with me, it will be a pleasure to get to know you more in depth. I'm going to open up for questions now, so just to cover shares and questions or anything that you'd like to know at this point with great pleasure. Thank you for your attention.